You're listening to the Second Look Podcast, where we take a closer look at what we're learning each Sunday at Connection Church to help you grow in your walk with Christ. Here are your hosts, Pastor Joe Terreri and Pastor Dan DeRochers.
Welcome to the Second Look. My name is Dan.
And I'm Joe.
And we're here talking about what children need most from their parents. Hashtag 529. But first, hey, Joe.
Good morning, Dan.
Good Monday morning to you.
Yes.
Joe, we're here to talk about parenting because we are clearly knocking it out of the park.
Oh,
with our
100%.
parenting.
Yeah.
And we should tell everybody.
Knocking out of the park feels strong. I mean, if you bat 400, you're in the Hall of Fame. So I would say I'm at least there.
And so we're here to tell everyone what they should do.
Yes.
Joe,
with the parenting experts.
Yes.
Thanks for listening.
Yes. This is our new parenting podcast. Joe, you had a good upbringing.
Yes, very much so.
Were there any questionable decisions that your parents had that you think about now and you're like, I'm not sure what they were thinking with that?
Yes, definitely. Two things immediately come to mind. My parents actually were here this weekend, and they just left, so it'll be nice to throw them under the bus on their way home from Buffalo. But number one, when every year we had an annual tradition in my family called Leaf Day, because we had 37 trees in our backyard growing up.
Wow. Is that an official count?
Yeah, that's an official count.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad's counted several times, and I told us about it a lot too. And so we had to rake leaves. It was always one Saturday in October. My mom, my dad, my younger sister and I would go out into the backyard to rake the leaves, and here's the questionable decision. My older sister, Jill, was never, ever forced to help.
No.
Yeah.
Why?
She just, because she was, quote unquote, cleaning her room. And so somehow that was acceptable. And
Every time?
Yeah, and I think my parents saw that she was going to be more academic than a day laborer like myself. So anyway, I can't even say that with a straight face. Yeah, so she was more of an academic intellectual than me, who likes to work with my hands. And so
we're definitely getting texts about this.
Oh yeah, this is good. Yeah, so that was one questionable decision. That was a bad parenting move. And then the other one is my mom and dad had gone away for the weekend, and my Aunt Ginger was staying with us. And then they were supposed to get home, Sunday evening, maybe around 6 or 7. Oh, 6, 7. Didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry.
No,
I didn't mean.
We're getting more texts.
Didn't mean it. But anyway, so my Aunt Ginger was going to take me and my two sisters out for dinner, and then we were literally walking down the path to the driveway, and it was a very short path, to get into my aunt's car, and we were going to go out to dinner, and my parents pull up at the exact moment, and my mom says, nope, guys don't need to go out to dinner. We're just going to stay home and have frozen raviolis. So they just had spent a weekend going out, having a great time, and we were just about to go out, but my mom said, no, you guys can't go out for a nice dinner. We're going to just have frozen raviolis. And that was honestly probably the worst thing my mom's ever done. And I still talk about it to this day, obviously.
How old were you at this time?
I was probably 12.
Wow.
Maybe,
so you've been holding this grudge for like 30 years.
Oh, yeah. Well, she hasn't apologized. So I feel like it's pretty obviously the wrong thing. And here's the thing. I am a strong Italian, and I love Italian food. I've never liked frozen raviolis.
So it was a principle. It was
not only you're not going out to dinner. It was you're going to stay home and eat something you don't like, like Prego and Rosetta frozen raviolis, and the worst flavor are the meat kind. I don't even know what's in there. So yeah,
meat.
Yeah. So those are some pretty huge parenting decisions.
Those are massive.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they really let me down, as you can tell.
Joe, I don't know if you know this, as a staff member here, there's a counseling benefit.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to take advantage of that. Dr. Francesco Rinaldi we have him on call here. So,
Dan, what about you? Have you ever had any moments looking back where you're like, I don't think that was the right thing?
Yeah, but more serious things, and that's why I talk to people.
Okay, all right, good.
Joe, I think and just thinking about you're
not supposed to minimize other people's pain, but anyway, continue.
I'm not minimizing.
Well, you said that your pain is more serious than mine, and what if it really hurts? Keep going.
Maybe this is how we'll end the podcast.
Okay.
Just thinking about our own parenting, and my
Sure.
kids will definitely have some of these things to talk about.
Oh, sure. I'm open and honest with my kids. You'll talk to your therapist about that someday.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's not a joke.
No. I mean, they think I'm joking, but and at this point, they know I'm dead serious. So,
I'm just thinking about my own parenting and for Alicia and I, and just thinking about how hard consistency is as a parent, because your kids know how to wear you down to your most carnal, fleshly self. I don't know how they learn it, because we're not teaching them that. It has to go back to Adam and Eve, to be honest.
Their sinful nature.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is, yeah.
But it's, when we think about parenting, like, you have really good moments, and then, I don't know if you're like me, but there are really bad moments that are usually when you just get to the end of your rope.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's just the part of relationships. I mean, so I think there's a couple things working there, just to maybe move out of humor and into reality. When you get into this parenting thing, it doesn't take you long to realize that these people who you have made are actually people. And so they're also, for example, your family, it seems like you have a cohort of, ladies in your home that kind of all go together. They're all pretty close in age. They're all daughters. But then you realize very quickly they're radically different in both personality, how they respond, their different brand of rebellion. And so I think that this is something that parents are usually a little thrown off by is, these are people and they're all very different. And even though they share DNA and they have some similarities, they actually don't all need the same thing.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the and I'm not talking about being unfair, like this one needs more Christmas presents than that one. But what I am saying is, sometimes parents adopt a style and then try to apply that style across the board to every child. And there does need to be fairness and there does need to be equity in our decisions towards our kids, but not every kid needs the same amount of energy, needs the same amount of discipline, needs the same amount of tough conversations. Some kids need a lot of discussions around their behavior. Others just need discussion around their attitude, and they're not going to do the wrong thing, but they're going to kind of be in the wrong spirit. And so I think that, trying to formalize parenting is really a losing approach, because each of our kids is different. And I'm not saying I'm not talking about being unfair. I'm just talking about not everyone in the house needs the same thing.
Yeah, well, and part of the way that we get there is consistency in our walk with the Lord.
Yes.
And, I really loved your point yesterday that so much of parenting is what's caught, not taught. And it's our life and kind of what's taught here in Deuteronomy, love the Lord your God, and then teach your children.
Yes.
How does our own walk contribute to parenting in this way?
Yeah, it's interesting. I knew going into yesterday that this wasn't going to be a parenting message with a lot of tips.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's what sometimes parents are looking for, even me. It's like, give me some tips, give me some wisdom about this or that. And I've sought out wise counsel on parenting issues a lot. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I've been helped by those things. But what we actually see, yesterday's message was not a tip. It was really a mindset that you have to adopt as a parent, which is, my relationship with God is the greatest gift I can give to my children.
Yeah. And
so when I am walking with Jesus faithfully and I am finding satisfaction with him and I'm growing in knowledge of the word and I'm repenting of my sin and I'm asking the Holy Spirit to fill me and I'm noticing when I'm not bearing the fruit of the Spirit and asking the Lord to help me with that, that's really what our kids need most from us. And that's why I titled the message that. Like, they actually need us to be the real thing. And so when we look for tips in parenting, those can be helpful. But if we miss the most important thing, you can have all the tips in the world if you're not actually showing your kids that God is enough.
We can have spiritual disciplines, right? We can read the Bible, pray. Oftentimes those things maybe happen more on our own,
sure,
or, I don't know, at different times in the day, and it's not necessarily a communal thing. Spiritual disciplines don't necessarily equate to showing things like the fruit of the Spirit externally with our lives to our kids. How can we make that connection to sort of spiritual disciplines and then showing that sort of consistent growth in our relationship with Jesus as it relates to parenting with our kids?
Sure. Well, I think the reality is when we're really practicing spiritual disciplines in order to know the Lord, they actually do produce fruit in our life. Like as we're in the Word and we're learning it, as we're in prayer. Like if we're truly, like if we're just saying like, okay, I'm supposed to do this, check the box, I did it today. That's not great. But when we're actually seeking the Lord, like on our own in private, those things pay major dividends. I'm not saying that's why we do it, but when we're really seeking to know God and walk with God and commune with God, people notice that. And the first people to notice where we're actually at spiritually is not the people at church, not the people I work with, but it's actually my family. My family knows where I'm at with the Lord in any given moment. And it doesn't mean if I have a bad moment, I'm far from God. I reject all that kind of stupid spirituality. But like when they see like, oh man, Dad's been cranky for 2 weeks now. Like, okay, well that's a spiritual issue. Like there's actually a need for Dad to get alone with the Lord and have his heart and his mind renewed. And so, we want our spiritual disciplines, if they're leading us to deeper intimacy with Jesus, that will help us to bear the fruit of the Spirit, because as we walk with the Lord, we become like the Lord. And so that really is a platform to know the Lord and then make an impact on our children.
I want to go into what you just talked about.
Okay.
Because I think all of us have bad moments.
Oh, so many.
And we referenced that even towards the beginning of our conversation. But maybe some of us don't realize that the bad moments have stacked up into Dad's been cranky for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's good.
Or a couple months.
Yeah. And I think I don't want to say this is unique to men. Gender stereotypes are rarely helpful and will get you in trouble or canceled. But, I think men in particular, and I'll only speak from my own experience, I think when dudes are facing a lot of pressure at work, and, they're up early, they're at the office, they're staying late, they're coming home, they're coming to the dinner table, they're, trying to find a few minutes to wind down after dinner, and then they're doing the same thing. And it's like there's no space for walking with Jesus in their life. And then, their kids need something or their wife needs something, and it feels like a major inconvenience and a hassle. And it's like, well, no one cares about me or understands how hard my life is. And then it's like kaboom. And like all that stress and anger. And, I think for men, what we're often slow to realize is that's just selfishness. Like not always, but 9 times out of 10, it's just like, oh, like I have forgotten my role in the home is to be a servant. And that's really that's what fathers and husbands are, the lead servant in the home. And so when we have those patterns and we don't have that time with the Lord, all we're running on is fumes. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to go to church, I'll sing the songs, listen to this message. And it's like, even sometimes people will say to me, and I know they mean well, but they'll be like, oh man, I come here, this really gets me through the week. And I'm thinking to myself, this can't possibly be what's getting you through the week. Like a 30-minute message and 3 worship songs. And, we need Jesus daily.
Yeah.
And I would say that is the primary parenting hack. And it doesn't mean your kids are going to just be like, oh my gosh, my parents are so spiritual, but it allows you to respond to them in ways that are rooted in God's wisdom and, being filled with God's Spirit. And so one thing that can happen with parents and kids is because, kids can be very emotional just in the different stages of their life. When parents respond in kind to the emotions their children are having, when we lose self-control, that has a far greater impact on the child than their loss of self-control has on the parent. And that thing those continual bad reactions can imprint on a child. And it's like, yeah, I remember growing up, my dad was, or my mom was always angry, or my dad was always angry. And so that's why when we have those moments, we need to say, and this is a real conversation, hey, you did the wrong thing, but Dad also did the wrong thing. And it doesn't always need to be, I'm right, you're wrong. Sometimes you have a blowout with your kids, and it's like, oh no, you were absolutely sinning against your parents and against God through rebellion, disobedience, and dishonor. But I sinned against you because my anger was actually leading the way instead of God's wisdom and God's love for you and my love for you.
Okay, in those moments, what do you do? What can one do to de-escalate those moments and lean into the wisdom of God and not let because like those runaway emotions, especially in the face of, like you said, I've got 4 ladies at home, and the emotions run a little towards the top end of the spectrum sometimes. How do you do it? Because sometimes it's like, this is a runaway train, and I don't know how to stop it.
Yeah, so I think in situations where I sense my emotions or someone's emotions are absolutely out of control, I think it's actually good, and I think this is true in marriage too. I think it's always okay to just call a timeout and just everyone kind of go to their rooms. Like sometimes, and I want to think theologically about this, I don't think it's good to send your kids away when they fail, because it kind of gives the impression that God, when we sin or fail, doesn't want to be around us. And so that's never, like when we sin and fail, instead of running from God, our reaction should be to, even though we're like feeling pulled away from God, the counterintuitive thing to do is just to run immediately to God. And so when our kids fail and sin against us, sending them to their rooms, is not a great punishment, because it allows, it sends like, well, because you did the wrong thing, you have to be away from me. I don't want to be around you right now. But there's another side to that, which is when emotions are running hot, it is probably good for everyone to cool down. And so taking a time out and then having a follow-up conversation is really important. So I do think when emotions are running high, it's good. And I know, and another thing, I kind of think if one person in the home's emotions or bad attitude or behavior is affecting the entire climate of the home, I will say, hey, you are not going to ruin this moment for all of us. You need to go and spend time in your room, and you're welcome to come back when you are in a place where you're ready to make this not about you anymore. Yeah. And so those are so I do think like isolating for a short amount of time for everyone, even for me, like sometimes, I know people could probably not picture this. I'm a passionate guy, and so I can get passionate in a fight and an argument. And so I've said things I regretted, and I want to make sure if I ever do need to discipline my kids, and the only person left to actually, if I'm going to spank someone, it would be Ezra, and we do that very rarely. But I don't want to do that out of anger. I want to do that when it's like, hey, man, this is you. Here's what's happened. You've disobeyed your parents, and this is the consequence. This is like your third chance. So we're gonna do this now, and so I think it's really important as a parent, when you feel yourself getting angry, it's okay to say to your kids, you know what? I don't want to say something I regret right now, so I'm going to just take 5. And then if you do say something you regret, you say, hey, I should not have said that. I need your forgiveness. Okay, now let's talk about why your behavior is unacceptable. So it needs to be that authentic, transparent, and clear.
If I'm a parent and I just feel beat down, or I'm not a stay-at-home mom, but just thinking about like moms that have no break. Yeah. They're just in it from the start of the day to the finish of the night, unrelenting, beat down. Any parent that just feels like, man, I am in this pattern. I don't love what my parenting life or style is like. Mm-hmm. What might the Lord say to us today that would just help encourage us or help us to make a move toward restoration of our hearts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be really helpful to do a few things. I think, number one, it would just be bring that pain to the Lord, ask for his help. We need, the number one prayer I pray in my own life is, God, give me wisdom. And I always am rooting that prayer in James 1:5. It's in some ways my life verse. If any man lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives wisdom. And James goes on to say, God loves to give wisdom. It's his wisdom. The only requirement to receive God's wisdom is believe that God is the only source of wisdom, and God gives wisdom without finding fault. And so anyone at any time can reach out to God for wisdom. I think it's also okay to get some coaching. Like, find a parent you respect who's further along than you and you seem like, hey, it seems like they're doing pretty good, and no parent is perfect, and any parent worth their salt will preface everything they're going to say like, yeah, I didn't do everything right, but here's what we did do. I would get some coaching, and I would ask, like, don't wallow. And when you're talking about that stage where it's unrelenting and stay-at-home mom, and it's just, especially if you have 2 or 3 small children all under age 5 in the home, I mean, we can all agree that is an incredibly...
It's a hard time.
It's a hard time. It's a tall task, and yet it's a privilege, and it's an honor, and it's a gift from the Lord, and it goes so fast. And so you need perspective. It's okay to need a break. If you're talking to your spouse, like, hey, I really do need, when you come home, like, and I think for men, when we have a wife like that at home, we really need to get into the double shift mentality, meaning like, hey, when I get home, it's not about, okay, like, where's my dinner?
Serve me.
Yeah, where's my dinner? Like, that's awful. Like, honestly, like, dudes, if that's you, that's an awful attitude. Like, your attitude should be like, how can I help? And listen, I've been tired too, and I've gotten home and had that please serve me mentality. But when you have a moment of like sobriety around that, you're like, wow, like, and it doesn't matter what your mom did and what your dad did. It matters that you're called to lay your life down for your family. Like, honestly, I get pretty passionate about this because I think families are radically unhelped by entitled men, and so like, do the hard work and understand when you get home, it's not about you. And this whole idea, like, well, I earn the money, you should do everything at home. It's like, where's that in the Bible?
Yeah.
Like, you made that up. Like, and so I would just encourage people to think of themselves as servant, and if you're servants, and if your wife needs relief, offer it to her, and but also see the great blessing it is to be called to be home and be with your kids. It's a great joy, and it's a great privilege, and God gave them to you, and they're a gift from him. And so, and we're discovering this at the Terrari house. That season, you think it's so long, and then it's suddenly over, and before you know it, you're thinking about, dropping your kid off at school this fall in a different state. Yeah. So it goes fast.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like enjoy every moment, because it's super hard, but just don't wish it away. That's really what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, you only have so many falls where the kids can rake those leaves.
Yeah.
And then it's over, and it's on you.
Yeah. Maybe I'll ask my sister to come down and help me.
She owes you.
Yeah, she owes me, and it'd be nice to see her use a rake, so that'll be good.
This has been another episode of The Second Look. You can catch this sermon and much more at our website, cometoconnect.com. Have a great week.